What's up, everybody? It's Kenny here, and I am here to talk about the new
Toxic Avenger.
That's what the kids are calling him. I think it's swell.
Basically, the only thing that really stuck with me from the original was the tone.
The first superhero born out of nuclear waste.
You know, imagine taking something like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right, the cartooniness of it, and dialing that up just a little bit. Then take Evil Dead and Reanimator and just dialing those up, and out comes something like
The Toxic Avenger came to town.
Holy shit!
And this is one of those movies that really could have only come from the 80s.
Shoot him!
And yeah, the movie is campy, but not for the sake of just being campy. The campiness actually lends itself to the premise. So it all kind of works together. I got vibes from some really great movies and some really stylish and different movies like RoboCop. The atmosphere was very dark and brooding, especially in some of the city scenes where there's like the high crime rate. I also got some Scott Pilgrim vibes. Just the style and the flair really screamed to me Scott Pilgrim. Also, some of the enemies are in a band, which is strange, but I was going with it. And like in Scott Pilgrim, music plays a big role in the plot in that movie as well. So this had a way of just embracing everything it was going for in a genuine way. It felt like I was watching a singular vision from like a singular writer director. Maybe the producers and whatnot either trusted the process or like believed in the final vision. Either way, I'm down with it. I really like where this movie went. Practical effects were fantastic in this. That's not to say everything was practical effects. You know, CGI blood squirts. But for the most part, they really tried to use practical effects. There was even like this bird character that had fallen into the toxic sludge before the Toxic Avenger. In some of the establishing shots, you know, the bird's kind of hanging out there also. Almost like that three-eyed fish from The Simpsons. Kind of a similar vibe, similar type character. That bird could have easily been a CGI bird, and it probably wouldn't even have made waves. It would have just been kind of a subtle little thing there on the side. But the fact they decided to go practical with it really spoke to their commitment to making their vision. I definitely appreciate that. Bird's one of my favorite characters, so hopefully we get more Bird in part 2. It's a rated R flick, and it needs to be a rated R flick, and it hopefully the sequel stays that way. Hopefully they don't go to PG route trying to get more kids on board. Even the length was good. This is it was shy of 2 hours. It was about an hour and 40 minutes. If anything, I would say in a sequel, if you can get that closer to an hour and a half, that would make it fly by that much quicker. Because, you know, a lot of these 80s horror movies, hour and a half is about the limit. Once you start, you know, every minute beyond that is a little too long. This movie, I don't feel like it was too long. I didn't really feel that way, but I don't know, maybe watching it again, I might. Maybe some of the scenes went on a little too long, but my memory of it right now, I feel like it was okay with the length. Although if they were to change the length going forward, I would prefer them make it a little bit shorter. The cast was good, and they all knew what movie they were in. Everybody was playing their character just right. Peter Dinklage as Winston and Toxie was fantastic. I do know there was another actress who played Toxie when they had the costume on them. I don't know her name. I'm sorry. She did a fantastic job. I thought it was Peter Dinklage when I was watching the movie. It didn't even cross my mind that it would have been somebody else. So she did a fantastic job at mirroring his physicality in that movie. Kevin Bacon. Yo, I did not know Kevin Bacon was in this movie before I sat down to watch this. I did not know it was him. When it first introduced him, it wasn't until I got the full shot with his face. I was like, that's Kevin Bacon. Seeing him play this role was good. He played smarmy very well. That villainous corporate bad guy, I thought he did a great job with that. Even his brother, played by Elijah Wood, almost unrecognizable in that whole costume getup. He looked more like, oh gosh, who was that? The Penguin. Definitely stuck out to me as a very memorable character, both in look and in his character growth, which, by the way, this movie offers some interesting character growth. I was surprised with that. This movie's not just campy. It is campy, and when it goes there, and it's a lot of fun. But yo, this is a touching love story. We've got Winston and his son, but it's not really his son, it's his stepson. And, you know, their relationship, they're trying to get to know each other and trying to accept each other. I was thinking about that when I was driving home from the theater yesterday, about how much just the theme of acceptance kept coming up. Peter Dinklage in the first part of the movie is working on accepting, or not working on accepting. He has accepted his son as his son. Even though it's his stepson, he refers to him as his son. His son is, you know, maybe a little bit of an outsider. He's got the fingernail polish on. He doesn't really fit in at school, but Peter Dinklage accepts him just the way he is. He appreciates his dance. He appreciates his colored nails. He appreciates his son for being his son. Then in the second half of the movie, when Peter Dinklage becomes Toxie, it's then the son who has to work on accepting his dad. And by the end, he even calls him dad. That whole level of accepting one another is really touching throughout. Peter Dinklage, of course, is a fantastic dramatic actor. So he brought it when he needed to bring it. And I appreciated that. And even the brothers, Bob and Fritz. So Bob is the Kevin Bacon character, and then his younger brother is Fritz. The Kevin Bacon character, Bob, does not accept his younger brother. He's kind of, cold to him and just kind of uses him as like a servant. And then I thought it was interesting that Fritz accepts his situation. He accepts that his brother isn't necessarily a caring, loving brother to him. And it's through that realization, it's through that acceptance that he actually has some very interesting character growth. So I really liked that Fritz, that Elijah Wood character. I liked his growth. I liked how he started off as a villain, and then by the end, he started to redeem himself. Again, this is from just a stupid, campy movie that I was not planning on having any part of my brain turned on for. But before I knew it, I start thinking, oh, wow, this is really interesting. It was very impressive for such a campy movie of a campy remake of some obscure 80s movie. So this movie absolutely deserves a lot of the credit that it's getting and that it's going to get. This is a movie that I recommend you go and buy. This is a movie that I'm going to put in my movie collection. Don't rent it. Don't wait for streaming. This is a movie that I'm going to get when it comes out on DVD or Blu-ray. It'll be in my collection and I'll be watching it, probably on the yearly. You know what I mean? This will be one of those that I just pop in during the summertime and just watch with some friends. I'm looking forward to watching it again when the sequel comes out. If they ever do make a sequel, by the way, I would like to see them challenge themselves to go as close to 100% practical effects as possible. Like I said, this movie did do some CGI, and I don't mind CGI. I'm not one of those CGI haters, but the more you can do practically, the better final product I think you're going to have. If I could tell something's fake, I would rather it be fake practically than fake in CGI. So some of the effects that I saw, some of the, elaborate death scenes that I saw were CGI. It would be nice if I can see some, some torsos and some heads made up and then kind of have the carnage go from there. So I would like to see them challenge themselves to go just a little step further. The level of practicality they had in this movie to begin with is impressive. I would just like to see them, if they can get that little extra step, it would melt my heart. I would really love that. And I would say lean into the family values part of the plot. Don't turn your back on the campiness, embrace that as well, but also trust Peter Dinklage to deliver when it comes time to pull on those heartstrings a little bit. If you want to explore some of the family dynamic, I say go for it. This would be a fantastic medium to do that. I think you got the writers, you got the actor who can definitely pull it off. And to be quite frank, I think you got the audience who wants to see it. A lot of these fans of the 80s horror movies, like myself, are in their 40s or 50s. They're getting older. They have families of their own. They've had some life experiences. And to see that on a big screen, to see some of those life values presented to them in a way that, is maybe unusual in a schlocky B horror movie, I think it would go a long way. So there you have it. Altogether, this is a terrific love letter to not only Toxic Avenger fans. This is a terrific love letter to fans of the 80s horror movies like myself. So I definitely appreciated seeing this on the big screen. I'm looking forward to seeing it again with some friends. If you stuck around to the end of this to hear me gush about this movie, I thank you so much. Like and subscribe and do all that kind of stuff. Also, don't hesitate to check me out on Too Bad About Kenny with the number 2. I live stream all the time on there. If you want to come by and just talk to me about, whatever movie is interesting to you or whatever other reviews you'd like to see me do, come on by. You don't even have to talk about the game that I'm playing. Just come by and just, have a chat. I'd love to chat with you. I'm also podcasting the Crypttique podcast. It's a Tales from the Crypt podcast. So if you're into that show, Tales from the Crypt, come on through and check out that podcast. Plenty of ways to get more of me if you're interested. All right. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Let's go. I want a new franchise. Forget this Marvel stuff. It's a new franchise of Toxic Avenger.
Too bad about Kenny, huh? Life in the big city.